This video is brought to you by Squarespace. Welcome back, everyone. It is time once again to do some viewer mail. These are all projects, books, zines sent in by photographers like you. I'm going to begin with this one, which is a really interesting project. This was sent to me by Alex Taylor, who's a photographer in Yorkshire. This is a project that he did with another gentleman, Andrew McTominey. This is called End of the Roll, the photographs of Alice Longstaff. So their letter reads that Alice was a photographer based in Hebden Bridge. She left school at 14, taking an apprenticeship at a local photography studio in the 1920s, something that many young women did not do at that time. Over the next 70 years, she proved to be a tour de force, photographing the town and surrounding areas and influencing, amongst others, a young Martin Parr who lived in Hebden Bridge in the 1970s. This is a really interesting project here, and I'm paraphrasing a little bit with their note because it is rather long, but she passed away in 1992, and her entire archive and collection was turned over, and people were cataloging it, over 65,000 images. Anyway, I'm going to read you a little of this because it'll make sense when you look at these images. Most of the negatives inherited from Alice were from her studio, mainly of people being married or needing a passport photo. However, there were a number of unmarked envelopes when opened contained a wonderful assortment of pictures from the town. The quote-unquote end of the roll photographs are a unique historical resource, but also an incredible photographic collection which stands as a testament to Alice's skill and talent. While she's very well known locally, she's almost unheard of outside our part of Yorkshire. Producing this book is a way to show off our wonderful archival collections, but also to celebrate Alice's contribution to local life. It's also a way to get these amazing images into the world and hopefully appreciated by others. We also don't know a lot of the people who were photographed. Alice didn't record who she was capturing, so we largely rely on local people coming to exhibitions and telling us what they can. A case in point is the print that we've included, which is this one here. Very nicely done. An image of a wonderful character we know nothing about, except for the photograph was taken in 1957. We've sent a copy of the book, one of the first 25 to be distributed, in hopes that you'll enjoy it and help spread the message. So I will put a link in the show description if you were interested in getting a copy of this. Andrew and Alex, this is absolutely fabulous. I love the story here. I love the title, End of the Roll. And I think it's awesome because I think when the, echelon of professional photography, that's what a lot of people ended up doing, was doing work, passport photos, as you said, weddings, things like that. And the whole idea of this creative act of just using up the end of the roll with personal work, and she had a great eye. There's some beautiful pictures in here, some wonderful street photography. I love the candid stuff the most. I think she had a really interesting way of being able to blend into a scene with a crowd of people and get photographs without really drawing a lot of attention to the camera and being noticed. You don't see a lot of people who are camera aware in these images. I think this is really awesome, and I normally don't show books that are not somebody else's work necessarily, but this is such a cool project that I just couldn't resist not sharing it with you. So anyway, if you're interested, please support this project. I will put a link in the show description. Andrew, Alex, thank you for sending. All right, next up is this, which comes to us from our friend Matthew Rygh. Matthew was featured on a Mail Time video about a year ago with his first book, which I really liked. Matthew is a YouTuber as well. He's got an awesome YouTube channel. He does really cool work. He shoots film. This is called Convergence. He also enclosed a little note on the back of this awesome little picture, which reads, "Ted, this is Convergence, my second book, which represents a sizable shift from my first, Sanctuary. This encompasses 5 years worth of street photography, predominantly in my home city of Seattle. I hope you enjoy, and I want to thank you again for the kind words about Sanctuary. They helped give me the confidence in my work to keep going and make this. Thank you for all the work you do and help foster a positive and constructive photography community. Best wishes, Matthew." Well, Matthew, I call it like it is, and you're doing some awesome work, my friend. I love your YouTube channel, and I really love Convergence. This is awesome. Matthew shoots film, obviously. You see that look in a lot of these images. He has a really good command of both color as well as black and white. And he also has a really cool sense of dramatic lighting in natural conditions. In other words, just using the sun. And I love these images, the way you're getting colors in here. The silhouettes fall nicely. They're not images I've seen over and over again. I think you're doing some really cool stuff. I also love the sense of geometry that you see in a lot of these images. I love the way that you're setting the scene and you're allowing something to happen, like, for instance, the guy in this picture who is against this big building. The sense of scale and that contrast is really quite cool. And if you look closely, there's another guy on the phone on the left-hand side and near the reflection of the tree. Very cool use of subframing with this girl on the subway. Matthew, you're doing some great stuff. I'm glad you're putting this together in book-type projects, and this is something that I want to share with everybody because I think it's really important that, it's one thing as photographers, as we tend to practice certain things or work in a specific direction, or we just shoot things that we love. But when you put things together in a book, and I'm sure Matthew can attest to this, but it is interesting because you're all of a sudden conceptualizing it as a project, and you're seeing how that body of work works together, how certain images have relationships. In other words, the sequencing of the book is very important. One of the things I teach in zine workshops is when you have a spread, two images facing each other on the same page, how does that work? And what kinds of images complement one another, even make a connection with one another, or even conflict with one another that you want to avoid? Anyway, doing book projects is so important, and I love people seeing people do that. Matthew Rygh, this is awesome. Go check out Matthew's channel. I will link that as well as the book below if you want to get a copy. Well done, my friend. Got a couple more that I want to get to. These are very different, but both very unique and very cool. But real quick, I want to give a shout out to our sponsor today, who are the always awesome folks over at Squarespace. How easy is it to build an amazing website in a matter of minutes? Squarespace has you covered. It's dead simple. Head over to Squarespace, hit get started. You can start by using Squarespace Blueprint AI and SEO tools, which will give you an impressive website in no time. Something unique because, you're not like other websites. Give your site a name. Next, you can build your homepage. We'll start with a few preset layouts just to get us going. Want to sell products like prints, books, maybe you make a zine? Well, you can feature those on your homepage. Create a few more sections if you want. Let's also give it a color palette. There's a whole bunch to choose from. Just get us started. We can change this all later. Next, let's select the typography choices. Welcome to your website. Everything is set up and it's all ready for you to customize. Squarespace is built on Fluid Engine, the next generation of website design. Select Edit, and Fluid Engine allows you to drag, place, and resize any element on the page. You can snap these to a grid, you can make them float on top of one another, you can freeform however you like. You can even preview and adjust how the site looks on either desktop or mobile. The layouts are independent. Of course, you'll want a portfolio for your work. Creating an image gallery is as easy as dropping a folder of images on your web browser. Once uploaded, you can drag to resort, customize the look, and Squarespace writes all of the code for you. Everything just works and it looks fabulous. Want to sell your own prints, books, or zines? Flexible payments allow you to make the checkout process absolutely seamless when you sell products or services. You can accept credit cards, PayPal, Apple Pay, and in eligible countries, you can offer customers the option to buy now and pay later with Afterpay and ClearPay. You should try Squarespace for yourself. It's absolutely free, no credit card required. Just go to squarespace.com/AOP, sign up for that free trial. If you decide Squarespace is right for you, I can save you an additional 10% on your order by using offer code AOP on checkout. That's right, the code is AOP. So stop procrastinating, go build your website today. And I want to give a special shout out and thanks to Squarespace for sponsoring this video. All right, so next up is this beautiful book with this very striking color called The Giant's Whisper. This comes to us from a gentleman named Jose Miguel Angulo Manso. Jose also includes a note which reads, "Dear Ted, my name is Jose Miguel Angulo. I am a Spanish photographer based in Cologne, Germany. I started with film photography back in the 80s, shortly after I lost my vision in one eye when I was 20. I've followed your channel now for a long time, and I must congratulate you for your amazing job there. It is also fantastic what you do showing and sharing the work of other photographers with your audience. So here I go. I am happy to share with you and your viewers of your channel my first photography book, The Giant's Whisper. This is my last big project which took me to the dusty plains in Kenya at the foot of Kilimanjaro. I wanted to photograph the wildlife there, mostly focused on elephants, and tell the story behind the scenes to give some context and share my experience with the readers from the photographer and human perspectives, sharing some ideas and tips with those ones that would like to experience such kind of photography expeditions. How I got the inspiration and motivation to travel there, the preparation of my trips, the execution and experiences in the field. This book has been made 100% by me, and it has been worth the effort. It is dedicated to the memory of my father, who I lost some years ago without the chance to say goodbye. Photography has brought me close to the wildlife and people living in Africa, especially the Maasai, helping me to know better the humans and biodiversity there. I am happy and thankful for the feedback received for the book so far. The profits generated with the selling of the book will be donated for support support of wildlife protection in Kenya and to the local Maasai community there. Thank you very much again, Ted, for your outstanding work, and best wishes to you and all the viewers of your channel. With my kindest regards, Jose Miguel. All right, so it's hard to show you guys the text portions of this, but I do love the fact that Jose Miguel approached this from kind of a journalistic standpoint. It's a little bit of a how-to, and if you're interested in his whole process of putting together this trip, there's a lot of stuff in here with cameras and lenses, but I think the work in here is outstanding, and I want to make some comments on that, Jose Miguel, because I think your work with the elephants is particularly interesting. And one thing I hope you consider is taking some of the proceeds from this book and actually reinvesting them into doing more work over there. And I think you've got some bright spots of talent in here that are really exceptional. And this is what I want to talk about. Now, one of the challenges when you're shooting wildlife against landscape, especially in a place like Kenya where it is very flat, is that you have, flat horizon. There's not a whole lot of interest you can get out of the landscape. So it makes a great backdrop for doing portraits of animals. But what I've seen for other photographers is that there's a sameness and a monotony that starts to come out of that because you're just limited with options. You've got some stuff in here, and this photograph I think is the real turning point for me, where you've got the dust that this elephant is shaking off, and the way that you're shooting it, and you get that atmospheric effect. You've got several photos in here, but you're starting to do stuff with your subject that is really interesting and really cool. I think the other wildlife in here is incredible as well. I think, though, that is your strong point, and I would love to see you focus in and just do a whole collection of elephants. If you look at the work of people like Nick Brandt, who did kind of a trilogy of things, some of the photos in here, I love where you're playing with focus on here with a really shallow depth of field. I just want to see more pictures. The quotes in here are great. I love the journal approach to the text in here, but I really would like to see a portfolio. I think your work is that strong, but this is an excellent start, man. And the other thing that I want to note on here, you said you did the book 100% on your own. The graphic design, the typography, the publishing, everything is outstanding on here. The print job, you did a really nice job. You've got a wide range in terms of skill level of what you can do, and this is a really, really nice testament, and that's the best compliment I can give you is I just want to see more. You never want people to say I've seen enough, so that's a good thing. But anyway, man, awesome work. I really appreciate you sending this in, and if you guys are interested, I will put links to his website and all that stuff in the show description below. Highly suggest that you support your colleagues and check this out. Jose Miguel, awesome work, my man. All right, next up is a book called Romania Through My Eyes by Mihai Pop. He also enclosed this handwritten note, which reads, Dear Ted, my name is Mihai Pop. I was born in Romania. I came to the USA in 1989 with my family at the age of 8. I fell in love with photography, but life got in the way. 6 years ago, I went through a very difficult divorce. In the darkness, somehow, I found my way back to photography. In a way, it saved me. 6 years later, I made my first photography book. Romania Through My Lens is 6 years of what I have learned about the art of photography. In 2023, I went back to my home country and I wanted to show Romania after the fall of communism as a more vibrant and happier place. I wanted to share this with you. I found your channel on YouTube about a year ago and I'd be grateful if you could give me your honest feedback. My publisher calls my book a love letter to my home country. My dream career is to become a full-time photographer and work as freelance with companies such as National Geographic. I understand you do not know me, and honestly, at the age of 42, I may already have missed my window. However, if you believe I'm good enough, maybe you can help me. Please feel free to share this book with your channel and any of this letter. Regards, Mihai. All right, so Mihai, very nicely done. In regards to your letter, I do want to say this. I understand the idea of coming back to something and then dreaming of having a professional career in it, and I can't really advise you on that without being able to talk to you. National Geographic, I really don't know much about how it runs these days. I know Nat Geo is more of a television station. I don't even know if they still do the magazine. I haven't seen it in a long time. They might. I don't know. I'm just saying this out of my league. But one thing I do want to tell you that I would tell to anyone out there, and I think this is really important, is that I think having dreams and ambitions is certainly awesome, but do it for yourself first. Immerse yourself, get really good, shoot all the time. You can be a full-time photographer without having to make money or be professional. You're doing it for you. And if you can't find that enjoyment, then you're definitely not going to take it further. And so I just want to make sure, and I think that's the case with what you're saying here, is that you have the cart before the horse. And I also appreciate the story about the divorce and how you came back around to this, because photography does have that power to be quite cathartic when you're in a situation, and even therapeutic. Now, let me talk about your work a little bit. I think that I really like like a lot of what's going on here. I think you've got a really good eye for composition. I think the lighting in here is interesting. And I mean that in a really good way. I love your sense of color. I like your sense of being able to match images up too. We have color that goes over these two. It makes a really nice spread. You definitely have kind of a Saul Leiter influence going on over here. It's really good. I think it's really strong. Now, I think there is an area where you could use a little more work. And I think your street photography stuff in here, I like stuff where you're using a window to subframe, or maybe you're creating something that's a little bit mysterious. But there's a lot of images in here where it's just kind of shots of people doing things. And there's not enough interest. I can't tell what it is they're doing other than standing around. And so things like that I would work on polishing up just a little bit. I don't want you to take this criticism too harshly, but I don't think that the strength of some of the street photography matches the quality that you're doing with other things where they're more thought out, well composed. You know, you kind of have this meat thing with the smoke and all, so there's a little bit of a documentary thread that comes in here, and especially if you aspire to something like National Geographic. When you go look at National Geographic, especially the classic era of National Geographic with photographers like Sam Abel or Steve McCurry, it's documentary photography, and they're going in and they have a photo essay and they're telling a story, beginning, middle, end. They're working with a writer. And so that's the kind of stuff you want to start working on if that's the kind of work that you want to do. Maybe it's not National Geographic, maybe it's somebody else. But I don't want to kill off your dreams or aspirations. I don't think that 42 is too old. I don't think that age is as big a deal as it gets to be in our minds. And believe me, I do it too. But I don't want to discourage you. I want to encourage you. And just shoot for yourself. Get better at certain things. Go look at people. I've said this is the entire channel I've done over the last 16 years has been about this. But go look at photographers that you admire. Analyze what it is they're doing. And you don't want to copy it directly, but see how that can start inspiring things to do your own spin and have your own voice within that. I think that is the most important thing you could possibly do. I hope this advice helps somewhat. I think you have a great start here. There's some really nice moments in this book, great compositions, nice color usage. The only thing that didn't really do it for me is some of the street photography. That's a skill I would try to work on. So anyway, if you guys have any questions or comments, please leave them below. Support everybody that sent stuff in on this video, and I will see you guys in the next one. Till then, later.